Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Johnson Ame, and I'm glad doing this video at this point because I think it's very crucial. This is a reaction to the messages, the calls, and the questions I've been hearing and from a lot of people on how I have been able to deal with my long distance marriage. And usually before, when people ask how have you been able to handle it, I just hold my chest and like, oh, it's been good. And really, it's beyond it's been God, yes, because I know God is involved, but there are few practical steps I had taken, and I think this is what has helped me go through the process, although I'm currently in the process, but it's helping me go through the process. And I'm not crying, or let's say I had cried previously and shed a lot of tears. Here's my hand, so in case I cry right now, but it's fine. But there were a few things I had done, and in fact I had listed them out in my blog. Please go to my blog. It's Bob Johnson Ame. Yes, it's blog and all. So you could just check out the few points I had listed. However, I would like to do a broader explanation on a few things, and probably today or on this very video, I'm going to take about 3 or 4 points, and hopefully the subsequent videos I will take other points just to shed more light and explain a few things. And so yes, now there's something I just want you to be aware of, and the fact is long distance marriage or relationship is not cut out for everybody. There are a few people that could handle it, and some may not be emotionally strong to handle it. However, you may not know how emotionally strong you are until you get into it. And for me, I never knew I would have been able to handle this until I found myself in it. And secondly, nobody ever wants to be away from their loved one. Nobody wants to be away from who they care about. But sometimes circumstances beyond our control just creeps into the way, and because you want the better good for the other party, you have to just let him or her go. And if you have the opportunity, if you have the finances, if you have the resources to go with him or her, you could go. There are some situations you can't even go with the person. If the person were going to the battlefield, there is really no way you can fight that war with that person. Or if the person has to go for a meeting or a business, onshore, offshore, stuff like that, and all. So there are some situations that will strictly not just allow you go with your spouse, but you can go through the process successfully or bearable, what's the word, and you'll be fine. So yes, on my blog, the first thing I pointed out was how that you need to agree on how long you both will be apart. Really, this is very important. I think that's the first thing. The moment you know or you realize that you guys will have to be apart for a while, agree on how long you want to be away from your spouse. Because if, for example, if he were going for a master's, probably if he is a full-time master's student, that could be, let's say, 1 year to 18 months. That's like 12 months to 18 months, and you have to give some room for his project defense, graduation, things like that. Or if he's going to the battlefield, you really may not know how long he's going to be there, or if it's a work, if it's his place of work that had transferred him for a specific period of time. The best beautiful thing is just ask, and for your spouse, make sure he or she is sincere about it. Be, as much as possible, be open to each other. Tell, this is how long I'll be here, for 2 months, for 1 year, for 5 years. Oh no, 5 years is quite long, but whatever it is, just keep each other informed. And there's no need playing hanky panky here. There's no need hiding whatever it is. If you really love each other, please be sincere about it. In fact, when you begin to suspect that your spouse is not being sincere with how long the distance will be, or how long this moment will be, I think you should be very careful, especially where you should know if he says he's going for some meeting and you make inquiries, and that meeting should not last like 2 or 3 months and it turn into 1 year. I think you should be very, very careful. Are you sure he still loves you, she still loves you, still wants to continue this relationship? Yes, so that's for agreeing on how long you would love to be apart, or you would have to be apart. Now, the second point I highlighted on my post was create a memory before leaving. Yes, I can tell you from experience that there will be times where he would feel very lonely, where you feel very depressed, where it seems like you're in the midst of people but you feel lonely and you're asking yourself what's happening. The truth is you're missing your spouse. That's just the sincere truth here. So before he or she leaves, I would encourage you to create a memory. Like for me, okay, let me just share a brief summary of my long distance marriage. Now, before, okay, we met, okay, let me not even go there. Maybe that will be for another blog post or another video rather. Now, we coded from a long distance. It wasn't intentional because we met somewhere else, not even in Nigeria. So on coming back, I was coming back to where I was serving and he had to return back to where he was based. So there and then, okay, yes, we agreed to start up the whole relationship. And so we had to cut from a distance. In my mind, in his mind, after the marriage, we were supposed to come back together. All of a sudden, masters came up and he had to travel for his masters. And my plan was, I was also going to go for my masters too, but something just happened. So after the wedding, we didn't even spend, maybe I shouldn't say this, okay. We didn't spend so much together. We didn't spend up to a month, yes. I think just 3 weeks. And it dawned on me that I'm going to be married but living single. And we had to make a lot of adjustments. We had to tell ourselves, this is what is going to happen. So in that process, during the honeymoon or that period after the marriage, we had to intentionally create memories. We had to go to places that we had not been before. We had to do the things that we had not done before, just to create memories. If possible, just take pictures, videos of yourselves together and all. So by the time he or she is away, when the loneliness begins to set in, you can just swipe through those memories and you find out you start laughing. You start that your joy is coming back. And also, as much as possible, create memories before he or she leaves. This will really help with the whole long distance and all. Yes, another very important aspect of maintaining a long distance marriage, like I highlighted in my blog post, is communicate and communication. Yes, I believe a lot of relationship experts surely must have flogged this point a lot. Yes, and we're made to understand that communication is not complete until there is a feedback. So you can't tell me that you're talking every day. If there is no communication, if there is no feedback, there's going to be something wrong. Yes, I've heard a lot of people say that you don't have to talk every day. Well, I think that you shouldn't take that hook, line and sinker. Reasons being that we are different people. In fact, I would recommend a book by Gary Chapman, and I think it's about the 5 love languages, where it highlighted the various love language every individual has, or just say a blend of 1 or 2, and each of them has a priority, or there's one that speaks more to you. Okay, for example, we have physical touch, we have words of affirmation, we have gifts, we have yes, acts of service, and there is one other one, yes, quality time. Now, for example, if somebody's love language is quality time and probably the other spouse is words of affirmation, will you tell me that they will not want to hear from each other every day? Now, I think that for people who feel that they should not speak or call or talk to each other every day, you need to check the person's love language. Maybe one of the person's love language is act of service, so you necessarily don't have to call every day. And another thing that also influences or affects your calling could be, or that's your communication, could be your temperament. And I would also encourage you to read this book by Tim LaHaye, Why You Act the Way You Do. And in fact, his wife wrote another beautiful one, and that's The New Spirit Controlled Woman by Beverly LaHaye. Yes, now they highlighted or explained to us our temperament: the sanguine, the choleric, the phlegmatic, and the melancholic temperament. Now, when it comes to communication is way beyond calling and hearing the other party. It could be text messages, it could be activities or words, or it may not necessarily be calls. Now, for example, I watch a movie, I saw a video skit, I saw a picture, something happened during my day. Out of a joy or excitement, because this is my partner, this is somebody this is my friend. So the first person that comes to my mind is my spouse. So I just feel that there is a need to just share. I don't necessarily need to call him, but we've communicated. In fact, I mean, this is something that I like. Oh, this is something I would like for my next vow or my next birthday. I'm not vocally saying it, but I'm communicating something. Now, for communication, I personally would appreciate a day-to-day conversation. Now, communication or conversation should not necessarily be for a very long period of time, but people who claim to be in love would always want to hear the other person. In fact, sometimes you may just say, I want to call for just 1 minute, and just say good morning, hello, how are you, take care, bye bye. Before you know it, the conversation becomes longer. From have you eaten, what's the day going to look like, well, the conversation becomes longer. You just realize that you spent 1 hour. Sometimes when I and my husband are talking, and in my mind I want to spend maybe like 5 minutes. Do you know, I can't just imagine how 1 hour just passes. I'm like, what are you talking about? So this is an explanation to show that when people are in love, they tend to spend longer time communicating. And this is not to say that those who do not spend longer time communicating don't love their spouse. It's just a matter of individual personality. The thing is, understand your spouse, understand what he or she wants, understand how to communicate love to this person. For example, my husband's love language is quality time. So like me, whose love language is not quality time, I think mine is gifts. He will do a lot of good, like sending plenty gifts, and I'll be feeling like, yes, this young man loves me very much. But all he wants is, at least let him just be seeing my face. I can be running around, be sweeping and be clean and be reading. In fact, you know what he does? When he's reading his book, I feel like I'm distracting him. He's reading with his sister, but he's placing his phone there, and he's reading and he's looking at my face. And I'm like, are you sure you're really concentrating? And for him, he's fine. In fact, the book is really sinking in his head very well. So that's quality time. That's the way he wants to express love. That's the way he feels he can communicate love. And I fully understand it. So the thing is, understand your spouse, understand the person you're getting into a relationship with. I think this is where I'm going to draw the curtain for this video. Hopefully the next upload, I'll be speaking on the 4th, 5th, and probably the 6th, and we'll just keep on doing this. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your opinion about this, and if there are challenges that you are encountering in going through those long distance marriage or relationship, I'll be glad to hear you share. I'll be glad to communicate and address this properly. I've heard people who had their relationship hit the rock. Like a friend of mine whose relationship has been going on very fine, and they planned on getting married. It's very painful to me anyway. And all of a sudden, the husband or the fiance had to travel, had to go, and they had to call the relationship quits. I was like, why do this? They said they can't deal with the distance. In fact, as long as you love each other, there is no need cutting off this relationship. There are ways you can go about it, and this is why I am here. This is why I made this video, just to encourage people who are hurting. Yes, people are really hurting. I never knew this so much until I made the first vlog, and the calls and the messages I got and all. And I'm glad that this is really helping, and I'm trusting God that this would help to keep up this relationship. I'll be glad if you would hit the like button, subscribe, and also share. Once again, I'm Ubok Johnson Ame, and I'm glad to do this. Thank you.